I am technically streaming.
I hear it.
So I see you on the Twitch. It says we'll be right back.
Yeah, I can
Um,
hear you. My
Courtesy of
stand.
Karis's excellent Photoshop skills.
oh,
Thank you,
nice.
thank you. I know fonts and where to put them. Okay, yeah, you're there.
Should we check levels? I feel like at least in Discord, Karis seems a little low on my end.
A little low. I could still hear her,
Uh-huh.
but she is below everybody else's volume.
I can move my mic close to my face.
Okay, and then I guess Dan, you can. I guess it's probably capturing your Discord. I would guess so. You can right click on any of us and change our levels to
Oh,
adjust on your
that's
end.
handy. Let me
Just
try.
in Discord, I mean.
Right. In theory, that should go to Twitch as well, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
will.
Chris, can you do a mic check?
So I've got a mic check here. I'm quite far from the screen, so I can get all the way up here, but that's kind of uncomfortable. Or this is my regular size, so I don't know what's good for you.
I think I've got you dialed in. Everybody just blabber for like 2 seconds.
I would love to blabber for
So
two
I
seconds.
think
It's the greatest thing
we've got
you
to
are
end up
asking me to do.
blabbering over each
Okay,
other.
that was
Really, I think we
perfect.
talk this
Perfect.
nonsense often enough. Can we just make this be a stream?
Did anybody get a recording of that? Oh, good, we did.
Is this currently streaming two people? Yes, it is. It is
probably.
streaming people. I can just
Oh, they're
see us
listening to
doing
us right now.
this.
Well, actually, it was at 10 when we got on, and now it's at 3. So whatever we just did made a bunch of people log off.
Oh, so I need to log into Twitch. I can't post otherwise. Oh, that's
Oh,
weird.
we're gonna have chat in two places if that makes a difference. We'll have the Discord chat and the Twitch chat, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, so you can
That
just
makes
be in the
sense, yeah.
Discord stream chat if you want to.
Oh,
That one
okay.
tended to be more active last time, actually.
Should I
Should
go?
we say hello to the people watching on Twitch?
Hello,
Say
people watching
hello.
on Twitch.
It might just be us, actually. It might just be me and then Karis.
Oh yeah, it might just be us.
Yeah. So we gotta
That makes sense.
run the announcements. One thing I heard from my Twitch streamer friends that I really appreciated was like Twitch streams always just start. Like there's no fanfare. Every Twitch stream in history, even though like high level ones, like people when they start, they're like, okay, and we're starting. Like, yeah. So
Cool.
Do you want to start streaming on the Discord, Dan?
Yeah. Am
Sharing your screen.
I sharing screen? Do I have to like join a channel to do that first?
No, you're already in this one.
Okay. So stream screen. Twitch, no, Ostranauts. And let's see what happens.
Welcome to the stream. Don't forget to subscribe and click like.
Can't hear us here yet, but if anyone's over on Twitch, they will be able to. Hang on a
I
sec.
heard it, and I did click subscribe. That's converting one follower.
I had to
Actually,
subscribe
that
to
is
myself too.
That is something we should do. We should keep welcoming people onto the stream like every 10 minutes or so, in case people are
Okay.
dropping in as we go along.
People should be allowed to connect now, so they should be able to. Oh yeah, there we go.
Nice.
We've already got one.
Okay, cool.
Amazing.
Hey guys.
Hello. And they're probably set to mute, right? They can't respond. But hello, Naiba. Disreputable squid.
I was just checking to see if the chat shows up on the right hand side. Shouldn't?
Oh, okay. Let me just. Ha ha ha. Is it gonna show up?
I don't see it.
That's weird. Is
No,
it
I mean
set?
I see it. You mean did you set the overlay so that it should appear?
Mm,
Can I edit the overlay in real time?
I don't know.
On
I'm not
OBS?
sure.
Are you using OBS?
This is the Twitch studio.
I would guess you can. I know you can on OBS. Like you can drag video or drag like your view boxes.
Well, Twitch seems to think it's there.
So are we going to get a video feed here in Discord as well, or is the video only on Twitch?
You should be getting both right now.
Dan's live right now on stream.
Oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
So hey folks, welcome. We are nearly ready to stream. We want to just see if there's a way to get the chat from Twitch to appear in the stream viewport. And this being the first time we've done it, I don't know if I've done something wrong or if it's just broken. So
is there any way to see the layers and stuff at the side on your screen at the moment?
do you mean for me to see it or for you to see it?
For you, can you see the layers at the side?
Yeah, I see the layer outlined. I just see nothing in it.
That's so strange.
Is it possible they're set to, like, are the layers set like Photoshop layers and the chat's showing behind the graphic element?
It's possible, but it's if I put it on either end of the list, it doesn't show up, and it is at the top of the list.
Has it got the eye thing on the side of it, on the layer? Sorry, I know that's...
Yep, it's set to view. I just switched it to hide. I don't think I saw anything change there.
That's so strange.
Yeah, because we actually saw this working yesterday.
We did see it working yesterday. Is there any way to do like a test notification or something like that? Because I can see people in the chat in Twitch.
Let me. So this is a test
Should
message.
I, like, subscribe or like? Maybe that'll.
And one more test message.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I wasn't doing a troll. I was saying maybe that would show as a. If the other.
Oh, I thought you were doing a joke. Sorry.
No. That would be a funny joke, but no. I mean, like, I assume when somebody subscribes, there's a little graphic, right?
Yeah, it should keep the messages up and then have them scrolling up. Like, we thought we had it all working yesterday.
Yep. When I hit the test messages, I don't even see the test show up. So
That's strange.
I wonder if, let's see. I'll do a test alert this time, see if I see that. Okay, well, I saw that. I don't know if you guys did, but
Yes, I saw it. It says Tyler, right?
Yeah, I see that too.
So that seemed to work okay. But the test message did not for some reason.
Like, Disreputable Squid is now in the Twitch chat. As well as
They're in
the
both
stream
places.
Chat. Yeah. I love their logo. It's an awesome logo.
Hey Chico, hey Mr. Bravo. I know you
I'm
can't
waiting
talk
on
back.
putting out notifications just in case we're sorting this thing out. Thanks to the people that are sticking with us.
I saw something just now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Dan, whatever you just did created a little purple box on the screen.
That was me messing
Oh,
around with the border settings. So, yeah, it's there. Like, it's borderless and it's there in the layout. I just, for whatever reason, the content inside it doesn't show up.
Is there any way, can we delete it and then add another one?
I could try that. Let's see here.
Sorry, Dan.
Oh, that's okay. Delete, add layer, chat box, add. We have a chat box.
I like how people are just enjoying being on both chats at the moment. They're just...
Well, it's there, technically. Oh, hey,
Okay.
did that show up for you guys?
Yes!
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's working!
It is happening.
It's happening!
We did it. And this is
No
Make
idea
it a
what you
video
guys are
game.
excited about, but
this is why
really
Ostranauts
happy
is
for
taking
you.
so long. So
Don't tell the people. This is actually how all the dev works.
this
Just
this
like
is
5
exactly
people
what dev
talking
is
over
like.
Oh, amazing. Great. Okay,
Awesome.
now I'll put out notifications everywhere.
Excellent.
And you guys can take over with hosting.
I will also share the link in my extensive social network and pull in perhaps 5 viewers.
sweet.
All right. Why don't I get out of the options screen? And I guess once again, welcome to anyone who just joined us. We're going to do I think what we're going to do today is an astronaut stream that looks a little bit more at the social stuff, partially to show everyone who may not have played with that how it works, or even if you have played with it, how it works. But also, since everybody's here on the dev side, this is a good chance for us all to kind of see the current state of it and talk about the priority that we have from feature voting, which is more reliable crew. So we'll play with it a bit. We'll talk about it a bit, maybe decide on some things we can do, and you're all welcome to comment. So yeah, I guess I'll dive in.
We should probably introduce ourselves
Oh,
too.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
So hi, who are you?
This speaker you hear right now is Daniel Fedor. I am the Blue Bottle Games founder.
I'm Chris. I wrote code. Yeah, I'm down here, very far away, down in New Zealand, which is why you guys all sound funny with funny accents.
I'm Corey. I am a writer and mostly a writer on Ostranauts.
And I'm Karis, and I'm the community manager here. I don't know what else to say.
I guess the other
You're
thing I
also the
should
community
mention.
manager of Neo Scavenger. You're community manager of both games.
I'm going to pop this up just for 1 second because a lot of people end up asking, but there are many people that helped make Ostranauts. Most of which are not here because they did contract work, and that was a while ago. But yeah, there's a larger team at work with everything you're seeing.
And these people are just scattered all over the internet. Like, it's a really distributed studio. So it's very cool in that regard.
A flotilla of internet denizens. Netizens? We call them netizens, right?
Yeah, netizens.
Sure.
Let me replace Max Springer. Okay. So what my goal is going to be is to kind of get through character creation pretty quickly and mostly go straight to K-Leg so we can start talking to people, because in the past we've done a lot of videos of character creation and the salvage stuff. So I won't dwell on that too much, which is why you'll see me blow through a bunch of menus. But since I don't think very many people have seen it yet, Chico's latest beards are in, so let's admire the beards and mustaches.
They appear through the randomizer, it looks like.
Yeah.
Apparently, when you get a group of netizens all together, the chat seems to think it's a lurk of netizens.
That sounds
beautiful.
That sounds plausible. Yeah. What's my name? Kyle Banks. That looks like a Kyle Banks. All right, Kyle. Done.
Kyle Banks sounds like an action hero type name, you know?
Or a CEO, one or the other. He's going to start the next space Twitter. All right, so if I mislabel a crate, I get a friend. Perfect Burgess.
We're about to see perfect min-maxing of the social system.
And a friend, and Hobbs.
That's how I do it now at this point, too. All the secret dev tricks.
Yeah. Oh, and you got to seduce somebody, so you get next lever. Ooh, Fernando Wong. It almost looks like Fernando, too.
I usually hack there to get a bunch of money.
I always seduce. You get money for seduce. See, that's a full $1,200 right there. Plus a friend, or an ex-lover, I guess.
See, those are our disparate personalities. I'm always trying to rob from people where you're trying to seduce.
Hacking is a good standby, but I almost always go for drunk or seduce, just for the contacts. I'm going to continue my career so I don't get
fun D&D player.
Yeah, I'm the one always slowing down combat because I want to negotiate. I'm not going to take the death trap starting pod. I'm going to keep going with my career. I'm going to bribe the boss, and now I will take that.
I doubt we have any new people here, but just in case we do, this section of the starting game is a character generator, where you go through some kind of choose your own adventure style opening for your character that progresses over the course of several years as you're making enough money in kind of a low labor job to buy a salvage pod. So we kind of rushed through that section because we want to get to the social stuff today. But this is populated a big list of attributes for our character, given us some money. We've established some friends in the universe, possibly some enemies. It looks like we have an ex-lover, and these are all people we can run into, or I guess theoretically possible to run into in the game.
And we're joking in there about min-maxing your character, but really all of those options, they kind of give you pluses in some areas and minuses in others. So there's no real way to like max out your character in any particular way. You can just kind of steer them in a way that's more in a style that you want to play the game.
Yeah, ideally that ends up being almost like a mini role-playing game in itself. Right now it's a fairly limited number of choices and tracks you can go down, but over time we should hopefully see that expand. All right, I think we are kitted out for one. I'm going to reserve buying more equipment for the crew that we hire until I figure out how many crew we've hired.
You're not going to buy a jumpsuit? You're just going to chill in your big dog coat?
Didn't I buy the
Hey guys,
pressure suit?
My electrician just turned up, so I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Okay, be safe.
You bought a pressure suit, yes, but you didn't buy a jumpsuit. I don't know how often you switch back and forth.
When you say jumpsuit, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm going to keep the brown duster. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were asking. Because I like the brown duster look. And
I'm hoping that Chris is going to bring the electrician back, so he can just join.
Offer his expertise and how to wire the ship.
Yeah.
So you're a tradesman. Tell us a few things about what you see here. So since I'm going to be showing the social system, it actually makes a little bit of sense to pause here for a minute. Because of the character choices I made in the yellow kiosk for my history, I have some personality traits like, you guys can see my cursor, right?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So lustful was a choice. Masochist, so I like causing myself pain for some reason. I think that was the Fight Club choice probably. Unfit, visual impaired, insomniac, immunosuppressed, and micro G hypervolemic. Those are a cocktail of things everybody in the game will get at the beginning to start with, just as a result of growing up in basically zero gravity or very, very microgravity. But some other things that I picked up along the way: I am beautiful, of course, look at that face. Brave, charismatic, a leader. Every character right now will start with charismatic and leader, just to kind of make things easier. I don't know if that'll always be the case though. Slow metabolism, which actually comes from the micro G background. You just go through less food. And then patient, which this is not bad for like getting to know people. Like there's some good conversational skills here. Like one thing you want to watch out for is shy, or I think there's a couple others, like, or cruel. Some of those things will really shape the conversational choices you have to the degree you might not be able to talk to people, or you're always pissing them off. So something that I often throw into the mix is like gregarious as another pretty good choice, because it just kind of makes you like boisterous and talkative. Okay, we'll say accept. We're balanced out there, and we'll get into the pod.
So this kind of marks the balance here between your character creation. So at this point, your character is largely complete, and now this is the getting into the actual game, the gameplay elements. So you can't go back to that previous point, can you?
Nope. Once you leave that, it's deleted from the system.
Yeah.
So choose wisely.
So we should probably explain what's on screen here as well, because I know we're going to go through a lot of different modules. So.
Well, briefly, I am
in the universe. Are we?
We are. Oh, let me back up a minute. I'm coming in at a cool 70 meters per second, and I don't want to crash. So we are at K-Leg, which is sort of a rogue planetoid. Not rogue, but it's. I'll show you. Somewhere in betweenish the inner planets and the outer planets, it actually has a somewhat transitive orbit that crosses over a few inner and outer planet orbits. But it's a planetoid I think it's only like a handful, like 34 kilometers across. And it's well known as kind of the scrapyard or the boneyard of the solar system. And we are a worker that has finally decided to throw off the shackles of wage slave work and become a private contractor, sort of, or a free agent. So this yellow ring you see around the circle is a ring of derelict ships. We are a blue triangle here at the center of the system map, and that diamond shaped thing is K-Leg Station. It's a ground station on the asteroid. And I'm currently hovering at 4.4 kilometers away from it. So
it's important to know that when you start this game, aren't necessarily a professional pilot by any means. This is the first time you're on this salvage pod of yours, so your character's kind of learning the ropes at the same time you are as a player. Now, that's not the case with Dan, who made the game and understands these systems probably better than his player, but to wit, we'll see how fast he can dock, because
I'm coming in. Coming in hot. It's flashing red up there.
for docking too slowly by all these hot shots.
Yeah, I like to come in just under 100.
Gotta admit, folks, can we get a clap in the chat? That was
cool, calm, and collected dock. All right.
So that was docking onto the actual station OKLG that Dan was talking about.
So here we are walking off our ship and actually going through the airlock into K-Leg.
Into K-Leg. And our resident security guard, Natalie Branch, has abandoned her post to go talk to people. I want that noted in her record.
Wow.
Can you just zoom in there and show a little bit of the detail as well?
On anything in particular, or just the...
Oh yeah, just on the character, or just on the background, or as you like.
Check out Fernando, is our ex-lover over here talking with Perfect Burgess, Natalie Branch, and Ann Hobbs.
He seems to be quivering uncontrollably.
That's a good point. Something's going on there.
He senses you've entered the room.
He's like, oh, I haven't seen her or him in such a long time.
Okay, I have some things from the chat to tell you.
Okay.
Cool. So you have one person, I can't pronounce your username, I'm so sorry. But in Twitch they say, love your games, Daniel, you rock, which is really nice.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you to say.
Awesome.
And then we have Sapo569, who asks that they've been playing Neo Scavenger for years, and since it was only available on your website, but they're asking about Ostranauts. They say, as they understand it, it's basically fixing some derelicts at the moment. So when's the next chunk of the game going to be playable? So it's a little bit of a difficult question.
It is a tricky question. So our priority right now is to make crew more useful so that when you hire them onto your ship, you can actually put them to work and not babysit them quite as much. And I feel like that's kind of one of the last major pieces we want to have in place before we start expanding too much content, because one large part of the game is kind of managing your ship, whether that's fixing things or maintaining, tearing things down, building things up, operating your ship. But another part is kind of working with the people that you know on the crew, like managing their moods and their needs, but also like, if I didn't bring, say, Fernando with me somewhere later in the game, we might get a call from Fernando because they're in trouble and they need help. They're our ex-lover, and we're not obligated to do anything by the game mechanics, but if you want to keep your contacts, you have to kind of nurture those relationships. So traveling on your way to another station, you might get called by somebody from the station you just left, and it's like, well, do I turn around now and go help them, or just finish my trip and leave them high and dry? Which is all to say that I feel like we're right on the cusp of getting the social systems a little bit more stable and useful, so that we can start layering more content and features on top of that. This is kind of like a foundational piece of the game. And more broadly speaking, the schedule for early access is, I expect, to be like Neo Scavenger, where it's probably a year or two of development to get to 1.0.
Yeah, we're definitely excited about getting the social stuff engaged such that we can start placing NPCs like you see in OKLG here, throughout the system. So you might find somebody when you board a derelict, or somebody else might board you, or basically just adding more life to the system in the way that you see a lot of life are in Neo Scavenger. So I think we're right on the precipice of some of that. I know Chris is working really hard on some of the social stuff right now. So
Yeah,
pretty,
and
pretty
I think this, like, having this web of contacts gives us some really cool hooks that we can tie other game systems into, whether that's creating drama or even just keeping your crew happy in the same way that you would kind of keep your household happy in The Sims, for example, or your colony in RimWorld. It's a job in itself. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the plot-based stuff where it's like, okay, we know you have these allies in this part of the system and these enemies elsewhere, and are we overdue for that enemy to start causing trouble for you now, or for your friend to want to hook up again, or there's a lot of kind of Firefly episode type launching off points for plots that we could start hooking into.
So why did we split with Fernando? Is it because they're a repulsive quitter?
It's because he always tries to ape my style.
Yeah, he looks exactly like you. It looks like you just put on glasses and spiked.
Wait. So Dan, I don't know if you've said yet, or maybe I've missed it because I was doing social posts. Is this an update that isn't out yet, right?
Correct. Yeah, actually, I'll maybe try and show off some of the new stuff after this, in addition to the beards.
People that are like, "Hey, you've got beards right
yes.
now?" Like,
yes.
That is a new thing.
It is a new thing. And Chico, some of you probably know Chico from even the Neo Scavenger modding scene, but he's been doing some Ostranauts modding as well. And he was enlisted to help me with the beards, as well as cleaning up some of the portrait bits where like stray pixels or misaligned features were causing problems. So he's been doing a really good job. And yeah, you'll see more than a couple of his new assets in the portrait system. And then there's at least the PDA has received a little bit of love since the last time most of you have seen the game. So I'll have to show that later.
What's the gliophobic on Fernando there? Above repulsive quitter?
That means afraid of pain. So it's sort of the opposite of a masochist.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he is like really afraid of getting his hands dirty and pain. He's a quitter. He's repulsive. I'm starting to see a pattern in why why they're an ex-lover and not.
Said he's a repulsive quitter.
Yeah, stubborn. He likes smoking Damask Rose. He's a Breakout League fan. He likes the Warriors in particular. Feeble. All these are probably just from 0G upbringing. He's drowsy, probably because he smokes Damask Rose, and well groomed, but that's just because he copies my style. So someone
I think it's
like
kind of worth pointing out too here that one thing we're trying to do is build up all these plot points programmatically. So it's not like we're creating characters and then we write a bunch of script that goes with that particular character. It's like all the plot points are emergent from these individual traits that have been built up, and then the lines of dialogue you see are chosen by that character, using a procedural system rather than being allocated to any particular person.
Yeah.
So every time you play through the game, all those characters are going to be uniquely generated for that particular playthrough. And no one else is ever going to see those same characters that you're seeing in that run.
And similar to the physical combat from Neo Scavenger, it's not really telling you every last detail of what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on under the hood, but as you can see down here, like, we're getting his attention. It's not saying like you went over there and put your hand on his shoulder and he turned around and looked surprised to see you. Like, we're not getting into that level of detail because I don't have the bandwidth to produce the variety of text content you'd need for all of those situations. But if we just say generically, this is the thing that happened, and you look over the character stats and you're like starting to sort of imagine a personality for this person, or imagine the scene as it's being sort of written out here in the log. It's just enough information for your brain to hook onto, but not so much that it's telling you what to see. I feel kind of like I don't want to hire Fernando, but let's throw something out there. Let's one thing that I usually like to do when I'm talking to somebody is just kind of do a generic "what's up" to kind of see what state they're in. We can see from his face that he's actually in a pretty good mood. And if I do this "what's up" mood, "what's up" move, my sense of social contact will get better by quite a bit. Family will get better a little bit, but my privacy goes down. And for them, similarly, their contact goes up quite a bit. Their sense of self-esteem, like being respected by other people, goes up. Their sense of family, their sense of self-respect, like how they feel about themselves, goes up, and their privacy goes down. So
I feel like you should hire Fernando. Oh, he just got mad, but I feel like you should hire Fernando because it's just like such a sitcom plot to like be working with an ex, you know?
There's a lot of room for entertainment. It depends on what I guess your goal is. Do you want effective crew or do you want entertaining crew? Because it's not always going to be the same thing.
Well, you have bad blood. He definitely looks a little mad.
He's lamenting his pointless existence to me. It's like ever since you left.
So for people just joining the stream, so our characters on the left here are Kyle Banks. So when we went through the character creation at the beginning of the stream, at the top of the stream, there are a bunch of dialogue options that we got to choose in our character creation in our career kiosk. And one of them, as a consequence, created this character, Fernando Wong, on the right-hand side of the screen. And so now we're a bit deeper into the game. We're kind of uncovering our own backstory as we discover more traits and more attributes of this character, Fernando Wong, that was actually created right back at the very start of the stream in character creation.
And we're hitting the ground running here with Fernando. He's immediately shifted into. He always complains that he's a meaningless person, and I think I'm going to fall into his trap and open my arms to him. And the reason I have open arms is because my personality includes lustful. So anytime you see a parenthetical thing here in the action, that's an action you only have because of a trait or a condition that's on you. So back off, for example, is something anyone could do. Change the subject is something anyone can do, but there are only a few personality traits where you're actually okay with physical contact and opening your arms. So this is going to go nuts. And this is actually one thing Corey and I were talking about last night, because some of these moves just do so much that we might have to pare them back a bit to a little more focused use. But anyway, this is gonna throw the deck of cards in the air and things are going to go nuts. So we'll see what happens. So we open our arms to Fernando, and because of what Fernando chooses to do, we learn little bits about his mood. Like all of these personality traits we knew from long before, but we're starting to see some green and sort of beige colored things show up here. These are like present mood indicators that now are becoming revealed to us because of the thing they chose to do in response to us. It's almost like we sent out a probe, and then the probe came back with this information, or they responded to it this way, so we know that about them now. So he's in the mood. He's raising his eyebrows suggestively at us, and we feel like we're through the roof now. We're on the moon. All our mood indicators are up.
Old flames
kind of a
reignited.
plot twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, we had some unsettled business, intimate business to take care of.
You know, they say that hate and love is a thin line or something.
Yeah, this does seem like the kind of relationship that could end with like getting hit with like a blunt object on your ship or something, you know?
I'll have to
swingy.
secure all loose objects on the ship.
Can we make a decision about how we're going to show, the act in the game?
That act?
Yeah. Like we were talking about privacy screens at one point. Did we ever make a decision on that?
To be in there? Is Is there?
It
is
cuts
there
to an
like
open window and shows like blowing curtains and beautiful blue
glowing
skies.
curtains in
I
space?
think
Steamy hand on the window.
I think what has to happen is the screen pans to the side like this, and then there's like a fireplace, and then it comes back.
That's tasteful.
So who's going to do the? Are we going to do sounds? Like, are there's going to be VO or something? How are we going to do that?
you know,
Ooh.
Well, there's no sound in space, right? So we should be okay.
yeah,
I
it
just
depends
had
on
an
if you're wearing a
idea.
helmet. So,
Instead of a fireplace, we could just have a shooting star. Like,
That's beautiful.
oh
classic.
yes, nice. Yeah, so I mean, I think it makes sense to have that in the game. I mean, we have plans to do combat, so it seems only natural that the other end of that spectrum should be on there too, right? And that
True,
is,
yeah.
if not the most important plot point in a lot of stories, it's a very major one in most stories. So,
Yeah.
so lovers in space and fighters in space, I think those are both on the table. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting problem to solve.
Maybe we should just leave it up to the modders and let the modders kind of have unofficial versions where they can
I feel like
make it as X-rated or as they want to. And then we'll just we'll provide links to lists of mods that the
they're
characters
gonna do that
players can kind of choose.
whether we say or not.
Chico says that use the push-up animation on both characters. He's like, no.
I'll do it.
There have been a few times where people have tried to use the same bed at the same time, and they end up kind of in a lying down animation but facing opposite directions. So there's some clunky, kludgy ways we could represent it with existing assets for sure. I think at this point, though, we've changed our mind on Fernando. We think maybe we'll hire him after all, even though he's a little bit of a loser, and we'll regret this later. Let's see if we can work on him.
We can change him.
We can fix him. Like any good.
Just need to give him some glasses.
Yeah. Let's see. What's a good way to go here? Like, he's feeling selfish. I don't think that'll impact his decision to be hired. So one thing we could do, we could just change the subject now. There'll be a little bit of an esteem hit for changing the subject abruptly like this. But we'll do it.
So when you say change the subject, you like literally chose the change the subject object action there in the game, right?
Right. I have basically said, so I was thinking, like, and he even reacted to that. It doesn't always happen, but he was close enough to the edge of happiness that brought him back into suspicious eye slits. So let's see. If I went to jobs right away, let's see. He agrees to talk jobs. Okay. So this is kind of a new-ish thing. I think it's still in the build everybody has, but this is going to be kind of our test case for conversations with stakes. So what we were doing just before this was like chit-chat. And sort of an analogous situation in Neo Scavenger Combat is like establishing your range from your target, getting behind cover, maybe like softening them up so that you're ready to move in and do the actual combat. Well, this is kind of a social analog to that. We were figuring out where they were, psychologically, what kind of mood they're in, kind of getting our moods in sync with each other. And now this is the reason I approached him in the first place. I want to see if he'll join my crew.
And that actually revealed more information. That softening up period we're talking about actually revealed more status traits and information about Fernando. So it actually does, contribute information to this next phase.
Yeah, we learned a few things about his mood, but we already knew a lot about him because he's our ex-lover. If we approached a stranger, this would almost be completely blank. So...
And I think it's worth pointing out too, this is all turn-based. So like down the bottom of the screen there, the timer is actually paused while you get to choose your next action. And then when you choose the action, the timer will roll forward like in real time, and then it'll pause again, allowing you to choose. So it's like a stylized version of a real conversation, and this is kind of where we're heading with some of our gameplay elements. Yeah,
and generally with the game, I want people to be able to take their time and enjoy it. Like, I don't want them to be time pressured, or to feel like the game is controlling their schedule. It's the other way around. The player should dictate the schedule and play at the pace that appeals to them. So you can pause anytime you want. You can, for the most part, quit and save anytime you want. You wouldn't be able to save right now, for example. But so we could throw a job offer out. Just say, hey, want to get on my crew. We didn't really do any prep. This is just kind of like the anchor point for the negotiation in salary, their death pay. Death pay is kind of like insurance. So you pay them up front $20,000, and if they die, their estate keeps it. But if they quit the job and they're still alive, you get that money back. Salary per day is how much you have to pay them per day. And then the signing bonus is what it sounds like. But if we do a basic job offer, we can see, all right, Fernando Wong tells Kyle nobody's going to tell them what to do anymore, and then he changes the subject. So I'm feeling a little bit bummed out about that, and which is a really weird thing for him to say after telling me nobody's going to tell him what to do anymore, but he's got you covered. So a bit of mixed messages here from Fernando.
He's saying he doesn't want a boss, basically.
Yeah, he's like, I'll do anything, but I won't do that. He's a regular meatloaf.
Gotcha.
So right now we only have one option, which is to just nod, which I'm actually okay with. That's a pretty non-committal response.
But there was that intimidation built into job offer option I saw in there. And it just strikes me that he's afraid of pain, right? Agleophobic. I know this is a mean thing to do to Fernando, but kind of intimidate. Do you think intimidating him into the job has a higher success rate?
I think that's possible. So let's see. If we go back to jobs, we're changing subject to jobs. So he agrees.
So
all
you
right.
asked, like, hey, can you work? You were like, can you work for me? And he was like, no, I don't think so. And now you're going to be like, no, I mean, can you work for me?
Yeah. So what if I say you don't get, so I'm thinking if I intimidate him, that's going to be predicated on how fearful he feels. He's not looking very fearful right now. But if I tell him, I don't plan on paying very much if you die, he's going to feel really insecure about this job. But I might be able to use that to my advantage to just kind of push him over the edge and intimidate him.
Classic negging.
Yeah. So let's dial down the death pay. We are now at 25%. Doesn't look like he's been affected much by that. But I actually wonder if there might be a bug, because I think he's supposed to respond in real time and he hasn't been. But I think as soon as I do something, he'll probably update. And then intimidating job offer.
Death pay, then.
Yeah, just think of all the money I saved. So, and I'm feeling as a result of this, I think my altruism just kind of dropped off over here. Like I no longer feel like I'm doing nice things for others. So let's try it. See what happens. Sign on or else.
Nice things. You're a job creator. Oh, man, he got mad.
So he got afraid and then he got mad. So he was quivering uncontrollably. And then he changed the subject, and now he's back on the, well, I'm a useless person. Let's see if we can try that one more time. I don't know what's going to happen.
The actions have consequences, social consequences. When you intimidate somebody, they feel bad.
We may have closed the door on this, and I don't know what. Oh, Anne's probably looking for food up there. So, all right, we're going to do this one more time.
I feel bad even suggesting it.
Stepping towards him threateningly. He's quivering uncontrollably. His face is showing that, and he's gone. He's like, I'm out.
Oh.
So
See, I feel like that was the best outcome. We really shouldn't have offered him a job.
we pushed it. We really pushed it.
We almost got sucked back into Fernando's web, the vortex of love.
He's like, this isn't going at all like I pictured. So, Perfect is another person I think we met. Oh, they're a friend of ours, and she's in a good mood. She's ambitious, trusting, and she doesn't sleep well. so far, that I don't see any red flags there. Let's see how they're doing. I'm actually feeling kind of a little bit dumpy right now after all that poor treatment of Fernando. So I ask Perfect Burgess what's up. And Perfect raises their eyebrows suggestively at Kyle. I'm never one to say no to a little bit of flirting. So here we have, so I can flirt. I can open my arms because I'm lustful. I can be a bit of a dork and say yay because I have the leadership, which is, I guess, encouraging them is what that move does. If I do it, you see their esteem goes way up, and so does their achievement and self-respect. But there's also this orange one here, and orange ones are special in that they're one use only. And you kind of earn these by doing things in the game. I'm not sure what I did to earn invite for a drink, but basically think of them like a trading card game. And this is a card you use once and then you throw it in the graveyard. And typically these are going to be a little bit more special because they have a better payload or some other outcome that's either really useful or desirable. So in this case, we could invite them out to drink. It says down here, consumes one, invite drink. The game doesn't actually have drinking at the bar yet, so it's just kind of a in name only. But we could throw it out there and see what happens. So we ask Perfect if they would like to get a drink, and the time ticks forward a few seconds. She says, sure. Lead the way.
Wait, their name is Perfect.
Her name
Oh
is
my
Perfect.
gosh.
Yes. Well, I mean, advertise your qualities up front, right? So we learn from her. So she just agreed to the drink, but because sometimes in a conversation, the sort of the controller of the conversation switches. So like she took control of the conversation and she decided to follow up immediately with, hey, you're not observing the rules of a space superstition. Like you're hitting on somebody the first time you meet them on a station or something like that. Of course.
Or you're hitting on somebody while you're wearing your environmental suit.
Yes. Yeah. You didn't pee on the rear tire of the bus
suit.
before you shook my hand.
Maybe you shouldn't ever drink in a pressure suit. Maybe that's what it is. That seems to make sense, right?
You should know better. It's a pressure suit, not a still suit.
I think she's being she's being flirty though. Like, hey, aren't you not supposed to drink when you're in a pressure suit? I don't think she doesn't seem that bad.
No, and that's more of like you could interpret it either way. Like it.
You could just scream back off at it. Quite the turn of events.
I've had a long day. I just broke up again with Fernando. So I'm going to smile demurely. That's kind of like a throwaway move where you're not really committing to an answer one way or the other. And for some reason, I don't have the option to actually do the superstition she's talking about, which might be because of my personality, or it might just be down to random chance. I forget if I have any. I don't think I have any personality that prohibits me from doing a superstition. But the other thing I was going to say is that we learned she's observant through this superstitious thing. So she observes tiny details in her life, and now we know that about her, which is usually a good trait. It means she's detail-oriented, pretty smart, and she's in a good mood. Like we could see it in her face, but now we're starting to know she feels like she's in the limelight. She's triumphant. So we're going to smile, kind of weasel control of this conversation back. Now we could flirt to kind of keep the flame kindled. Or do we just go straight to jobs? What do you think?
Fernando's right there,
I think Fernando should see this. So.
Wow.
That's not really.
We should do the flirt first.
This
Flirt?
is dramatic.
Yeah.
And Chris,
we tried the jobs.
I was going to say, Chris, this is the perfect fodder for a pledge. I think even one of our PAX demo pledge behaviors was you see your ex-lover flirting with somebody across the room and you
Oh,
get
yeah.
upset.
Sure.
I mean, we're at a bar and everything. I just feel like this is universal. Everyone's kind of been here, looked across the bar and seen an old flame flirting with someone new. Doesn't feel good.
This is like
Hey,
airborne
mean-
toxic event sometime after midnight. That might be an only me reference, but
Yeah, I do not know what you're referring to.
Does anybody else?
And I
get
pride
that?
myself on getting 95% of Dan's references. So this is the 5%er.
it's a song. So, all right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna flirt in full view of Fernando. Aiden's getting out of there.
Practice makes perfect, as they say.
That's right. Oh, she tells me to back off. She needs some space.
No.
This is sputtered out there.
Striking out twice.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to intimidate her too. Let's see. Let's change the subject. All right. Well, on to other news. I've got a ship now. It's pretty slick. It's a pod. It's docked outside. Come join me. Well,
Yeah,
she
she's
costs
not going
more.
to be happy when you hire her to work on your ship and then see that it's a one-man pod with a single seat.
You're getting in at the ground floor.
Someone pointed out that although they're scared of actual pain, they don't seem to be scared of emotional, emotional
that
and
makes
social
sense.
pain.
Yeah.
They seem to wallow in it quite a bit. So,
He probably also just called our bluff, right? He knows us well enough.
yeah, I mean, he's an old hand at this. I don't know. I mean, she seems in a pretty good mood. She might just agree, or we could preemptively butter her up a bit with a boost in compensation.
The salary per day is way higher. This is 4 times what we were offering Fernando.
Oh, so that's another thing that is not well advertised, but their salary is a little bit randomized, but she is likely skilled. She probably has a skill like engineer or pilot. Engineer and like sort of technical people are kind of the next tier up from like a basic deckhand. And then a pilot is even higher than that. So their starting salary or their proposed starting salary will reflect that. And so she's probably a skilled crew member. I don't even know if we have ask about skills here. Oh, we do. Ask. We can just. This is still kind of work in progress, but we can ask her what skills she has, and she's going to choose one at random, and it may not apply, but she's skilled in zero G movement. So I'd like that to be a little bit more directed in that you can ask them about relevant skills, not just any skill they have, because they could have like singing or cooking. Cook is relevant. So is singing because there's space shanties. But oh, she's on me again with the
confirmed. Everybody, Father's in the chat. Space shanties confirmed.
So we've been dinged again for the superstition.
She's really superstitious.
She appears to be, yeah. Well, let's see. That's going to make them feel bad. That's going to make them feel bad. They're going to feel bad. I feel like the role-playing option here is back off with the superstitions already.
I'm not wearing green on St. Patrick's Day. Relax.
And then she bursts into callous laughter. She's like, you need space, as if she knows me better than that. I feel humiliated. And all my conversation options are gone now, except change the subject, which is probably to jobs. So it's either business or walk away.
Did we try offering a job yet?
We haven't yet. We could always see what happens. Oh, well, we did earn this. Because we were humiliated by somebody, we earned a throw or a consumable move called Fish for Compliment. So it's kind of like, you haven't seen any other good-looking guys in this bar better looking than me, have you? Or I don't know. I'm not sure what a fish for compliment is going to sound like in this situation.
Did
But
you just see the guy who just struck out twice?
yeah, make me feel better, basically. So we can see what happens here. If she plays along or not.
Someone asked about the death pay. Is it possible to refuse to pay the death pay and take some sort of reputation or credit rating penalty?
I like the idea of
That's a
doing
great
that.
idea.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
So-
a good idea.
Like one of the things Chris is actually working on right now is they're called pledge behaviors or covenants. So think of it like this NPC pledges to guard this door. This NPC pledges to follow this person or avoid this person or harass this person. So they're like these building block behaviors. And I think one of the first ones we might actually try related to what we're seeing here today is when you agree to pay somebody for their job, the first thing they do after signing on is pledge to collect their pay. And they're going to come up to you and start a conversation and be like, well, you agreed to pay me this, pay up. And then that, I think, could be a conversation where you're basically now, you pay them, you cut the contract, say, nope, actually, I changed my mind. Or you like try and weasel your way out of it. And yeah, like a reputation hit there. People not hiring on with you in the future would be awesome. And I think the pieces to make that happen are in the game, but we'd have to kind of build those things block by block to make sure they're all working. So we fished for a compliment, and she actually played along there. She reassured us we're not as bad as we think, and we're going to nod and kind of take the compliment, which it's a skill. I'm not very good at taking compliments.
It is a skill.
Yeah, just take the compliment. So let's see. I don't know if I'm going to go out on a limb and be like flirtatious anymore. So what I might do is do a basic job offer, see what kind of temperature she's at, and find out if we can butter her up with money. We're going to try and actually do some crew management / salvaging with our crew just to see what happens.
Oh, you accepted.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice.
And she's feeling cherished. Like she's like, oh, I'm part of a family now. So
And that's how you make your whole team feel.
yeah, thanks.
Oh, he took a compliment. Look at that.
Whoa, amazing.
I learned something from playing Ostranauts.
You're so good at taking compliments, Dan.
Oh, thank you. Back off. So let's see. Oh, I take it your electrician is either gone or working safely.
Yeah, I don't know. They just drove off, so I guess that means that's all sorted now. But who knows?
You'll find out tonight when the house doesn't burn down.
Yeah, I guess so. And like I didn't lose internet as well, so that's kind of a bonus.
That's true.
So,
By virtue of you
I
being
count
here,
that
we
as a
know
win.
nothing failed.
Yeah.
All right.
Apparently, some people are only just getting Twitch notifications coming through that we're live. So
Oh.
we might have a little influx of people joining us, but
That'd
who
be
knows,
nice.
We'll see.
Well, we could do
if you're joining us on
We
Twitch,
just
welcome
hired
to the stream.
someone, so it's not a bad place to hop in.
yeah,
We're gonna see how they work on our ship and all that.
perfect. Now, perfect could use a little ego boost.
Yeah, we should probably explain what's on screen, eh? So we're the character Kyle Banks on the left here, and we're just having a little chat in game with Perfect Burgess on
At the
right.
bar on K-Leg.
At the bar in the K-Leg station in about 40 years in the future, 2079, 60 years in the future.
Yep.
And yeah, we're up in space, and yeah, we're playing a fun game.
We're going to see if we can get Perfect. Well, we got Perfect to join our crew, and we are going to make a life for ourselves out of the crushing boot of capitalism, space capitalism.
Sounds like fun.
And surprisingly, she was an easy hire. She's got a thing with superstitions, but other than that, she appears to be skilled, friendly, and in the mood to take a job. So, and she's just feeling a little insecure right now. So I'm going to open my arms to her and make her feel wanted. She'd do it for me. So, oh, she invited me out for a drink. Maybe we won't be going onto the ship right away. Let's do it. Let's pretend we're having a drink because we don't have drinks. We have vodka in the game, but we actually haven't set up the bar yet. All right.
Do we have an intoxicated state, a drunk state, or anything like that?
We
I don't think we
do.
added that.
Yep.
Oh, we do?
Yep. You actually can get drunk, and your blood pressure goes down, and your body temperature drops a little bit. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
there's a lot of kind of health things in the game, but only a few of them have kind of like a trigger event right now. Like we don't have bleeding because there's no combat yet. But all of the
And you can
Neos,
you can give vodka to people as well then too, I guess, right? So if you've got some vodka, you can just like give it to another character.
yeah, that's one thing we'll have to work on, because I think right now I have to put it on the floor for them to pick up, or they have to take it from me when I'm not looking. But an actual like hand it to them UI would be nice.
Oh yeah, we don't have like a trading UI yet. We've only got the vendor machine. Eh?
Yeah. Actually, if I set her up with a trading flag, we could trade with her the same way we do with the vending machine, but I don't think she has that flag on her.
Okay.
So we're not going to fire her. We're going to leave. But one thing that I changed fairly recently, I think in 6.5.3, which is the one out on Steam right now, is no longer do you have to like have a conversation with them to take direct control of them. Now I can click her directly, and you see the bracket is around perfect in the portrait updates here. So I am effectively now perfect. My log updates to her point of view. We see all of her stats. I can actually see all of her equipment, and this will have to change so that I can't see into her soul. But now I can actually direct her around and make her kind of do stuff as I would myself, or even like direct her somewhere and then go back to myself and do something else.
And this is because we hired her as a crew, right?
She is, yeah, because she is our crew, we can do that. Now, the one caveat is every micromanaging thing I do to her whittles her autonomy down. So we could look now and see her autonomy is liberated, so she's got a long way to go before she's going to get upset. But if I walked her around in circles for like, I don't know, it'd probably take 5 minutes. That would get whittled down to the point where she's like, I've had it. And then she might even quit. I forget. I think that's still hooked up in the game. So
If my boss had me walk in circles for 5 minutes, I would quit.
I can see this job already is going in circles.
And then we need to go back into the social conversation to build her stats back up so that we can control her directly again.
Yeah, what I would like to happen eventually is for her to come up to you and be like, that's it, I quit. I'm tired of you micromanaging me all the time. And then you're like, well, just hang in there for one more day. Like after this, there'll be a big, like you can have a negotiation before she just walks off.
I think autonomy builds up, well, you guys can tell me, but autonomy will build up sort of naturally if we get into a shared job situation or a task situation, right? Like if we get onto a derelict and start trying to salvage it, the two of us, our character and perfect, if she makes a decision to like, oh, I'm going to walk over there and like sweep that garbage, right?
Yes.
And then completes that, that is going to boost her own autonomy sort of naturally.
Yeah, there's like a fractional kind of autonomy and esteem and achievement. There might be one or two other things boost that she gets every time she exercises her free will. And that includes like doing stuff in her free time, but also like deciding which task she's going to do from the list of tasks that are set up. We don't have any right now set up yet, but
so maybe we can just go to the store, get her a pressure suit. Looks like we can afford it.
Yeah.
And get onto a ship and like just let her work. I mean, she has some skills, it seems like, anyway.
Yeah, let's see what happens, because I haven't done a ton of crew management. We've mostly been focusing on other bugs, but she's going to go chat with somebody at the bar, and hopefully she won't hook up with somebody and then quit her job. But
I have a question from the chat.
Okay.
Will alcohol have an effect on conversation options?
I think it could, so it definitely could. I think it should. I can't think if there are any like that yet. So if you are drunk in the game, your social stats get kind of skewed by being drunk. So already like the choices the AI makes will be different because they're drunk. Like they'll be a little bit more giddy, or maybe a little bit more, their inhibitions will be lower. So that they might do things they wouldn't otherwise do. But as far as like drunkenly slur a sea shanty, like that, there isn't a move for that yet, but I totally think there should be.
And also, will personality affect which... Ooh, that's interesting. Will personality affect which work characters prioritize?
I
Currently,
think it does, doesn't it?
well, I was going to say the priority of tasks right now is set by a UI that's similar to the RimWorld priorities. So they search through the list of available tasks in the order they've been assigned by like category, duty category. But like if they don't have the ability to do a task, they won't do that. But I think what you're saying is like if they just have a preference to do something over something else. I like the idea of it. I don't know if there's a way to model it yet. But that's a layer of like what's the word I'm looking for? A layer of specialization that I think would be fun to play with.
It strikes me now that has the music been off this whole time? Is your music off?
I
Maybe
have
I'm-
it down.
Okay.
You can kind of barely hear it
It's
in the
on, it's
background.
just very low.
Okay, got it.
I forget if she was hungry or thirsty, so I'm going to grab a couple Kung Pao chickens, grab some water.
I'm a mystery meat guy. I always go with the mystery meat.
Yeah, you're an adventurous type, though, so that would make sense. And we need a suit, too, don't we?
And there's background about all these corporations like the Rinbao and the trenches and stuff. So all these corporations, there's information on the wiki, isn't there, about all these
Yeah.
the history and the lore and that sort of thing.
So the Blue Bottle Games website has a wiki for the Ostranauts setting, and there's like a page for a lot of the major brands, for a lot of the major locations, and then in the game, like you can actually see, for example, if I go right over here to this wall poster, you can see one of the posters that Corey wrote up recently. So there's also like these kinds of lore bits hidden in the game that are, written from the point of view of one of these companies. Like Ojiza's register is kind of like a Lloyd's register of London for spaceships. There's also like the TV is spouting off headlines from around the system. So we try and kind of give a little bit of flavor to everything, the same way we did in Neo Scavenger, where there's like an ecosystem of brands and corporations and people that are specific.
Yeah, we actually spend a lot of time thinking about brands, companies, what people build, because, and it surprised me when I first got hired, but it makes complete sense, because if you're going to write a capitalist dystopia, obviously the kind of organizing principle of that society is going to be, capitalism, right? So like it really matters what these companies are, where they're based, what they make, in the same way that in America, for example, like it sort of matters what Google is doing or Twitter is doing or whatever as a company. So we think a lot about like brands and branding and, industry and all that stuff. And so you'll be developing some brand loyalties and stuff for some of these parts. I'm already partial to a company called Kang just because it's called Kang. I don't even know what Kang does, but I'm gonna have all Kang.
Cut rate, what do you call them? Cut rate HVAC equipment.
Yeah, thrusters and stuff.
I'm already noticing here, though, that
there's crossover too with Scavenger as well, right? Like some of the same brands are in both games.
Yeah, it is the same universe. So, like, theoretically, the brands that existed on Earth can also exist in space. Some of them, like, they didn't make the jump, or some of them may have made the jump and then dissolved on Earth, but are still okay in space. So there's some overlap, and there's definitely some differences too.
People want to know if we're drinking cornucola. I'm just assuming that's what the chat's saying. Just
Where's my cornucola T-shirt? I can't select perfect anymore, so I wonder.
She won't come with you if you get on, or do you think she quit?
Is she not a? Oh, that's a good question. I wonder if she quit. Let's go talk to her. Oh, she quit, and I didn't even notice. Like while we were having that conversation, Perfect and Kyle were having an argument. Like, I don't know if you remember seeing it, but I saw Kyle say back off again.
Can you scroll back up on the log there? Maybe there's something we missed.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Perfect Burgess quits.
Fernando must have gotten it.
What happened here?
Fernando's prints all over it.
Oh, it was while we were reading the poster.
Yeah.
Because we were reading the poster about work safety. She was like, well, if he doesn't know about work safety, I don't want to work for him.
We're like double checking. We're like, what happens if a crate falls on a crew member? No reason. We're checking.
Yeah. Technically, when do I have to pay the death penalty? All right, let's. Oh gosh, who's this dude? Aiden's taking a nap on the pressure suit I'm trying to give to Perfect. So, all right, she agrees to work. Oh no, she agrees to talk about jobs. Let's see if she agrees to work. Okay, she signed on again.
Now
And then she insults me. Talk about negging. All right, let me. Things are getting hairy here at the K-Leg Corral. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch. Well, I'm going to get myself out of this cluster, and then I'm going to select Perfect.
Design, but it kind of makes me think. I don't know if this is built into the social system yet, but probably you're going to have to like purge relationships every once in a while or something, or else there's going to be such an accumulation that it'll like create a lot of chaos, right? I mean, maybe you have that built in, but
you mean too many people in your black book?
I just mean like in this ecosystem of K-Leg, if the kind of like web of social modifiers gets too complex, it's going to create a lot of crazy behaviors. I guess just like it would in real life if a bunch of people were stuffed inside a station. But
yeah, no, I mean, in terms of like social dynamics being really compressed and strained, I think that's pretty natural for the environment. But oh man, like she is in a rough state right now. Like, and that happened in seconds. Part of that is down to bad balancing. Like we have to balance the payload of the social moves so that it's a little bit more natural or a little bit less like this. She went from top of the world to something bad quickly. And I don't know if that was
thing to do is acknowledge it as a bug, but I choose to blame Fernando.
Just let's make it narrative after all. What I was going to do was get her kitted out with stuff before she quits again and then onto the ship. And I already see now a drink pouch on the ground. Oh, it's still okay. I thought that one might have bugged out, but somebody probably tried to use it and then dropped it.
That was a neat trick you did there where you turned the lamp on and then put it in their hand. And then it's like you've got a portable lamp that kind of follows the character.
Yeah, well, it's meant to be kind of like a portable work lamp, or you can put it on the ground if you want to work near it. But yeah, it now she can see in the dark because she doesn't have a suit that's she doesn't have a suit that has its own light. All right, we're gonna get you walking, and I'm gonna get Kyle walking too. Kyle's gonna have to pay some docking fees first, but I think she can go to the ship.
We have a question about can AI feel cramped in ships if it becomes too full with crew and they walk into each other too regularly?
Well, we're about to find out.
So technically, no, not yet. But one of the things that we've actually got like a system for yet, it's just there's no content in it yet, is rooms can have stats, and like we picture like how crowded that room is being a stat, maybe how comfortable that room feels, or how stinky it is. Like right now, a room's only stats are how much gas is in it, what temperature that gas is at. I forget if there's anything else. It looks like it's just that in the top right corner where the compartment stats are read out. So yeah, it's something that I think we'll probably delve into more, but right now it's pretty basic stats per room. Just saw a message here. Okay. So one thing I'm noticing is that, first of all, Perfect is twirling every few steps, and I can't click her onto my pod. Oh no, now I can.
She won't go. She's like, no, I refuse. It's like when I'm trying to give my dog a bath.
Now I have no idea what's going on with her right now. Is she?
Someone said, "Is this the part you realise you can't undock because you're in debt and can't pay the docking fees?"
You would normally run into that. I was gonna. So Kyle is my actual captain. So I was gonna have Kyle go over here, use this to pay the docking fees. But yeah, if I didn't pay the fees, we wouldn't be able to undock. Perfect is
So
my
I think
first.
down there, where we have the cash, you've got $3,600, and it's currently red.
Yeah,
And I think the red just means that it's going down. It doesn't mean that it's negative. So we actually have a positive amount of cash there.
yeah.
We're not actually in debt.
Because of the pay for Perfect. Like, I think that's when it turned red.
It's red because I am earning less money this month than I'm spending.
Yeah, but it's not actually a negative number, right?
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
red.
So I
As
don't
an
know what
expert-
this twirling was all about, but maybe
Wrong with spending more in a month than you earn. It's fine.
that's normal behavior.
Do that indefinitely.
All right, I am going to recharge the battery while I'm at it, pay my fees, and then let's get out of here.
Here we go, stuffing ourselves into a pod with someone we just met who's enraged.
I'm going to do a courtesy to K-Leg and close their airlock before I undock. And just so everybody knows, automatically closing airlocks is something on our list. So hopefully that won't be quite as annoying in the future.
That's messed me up a number of times.
Just for the heck of it, I'm going to save.
Oh, really?
I know I should have done that more often, but okay. How am I doing anyway? Mostly good. Feeling a little pestered, greedy. Okay, though.
So do you want to talk about the social moves up there on the top right on that screen? Because that's something that's a bit different how we're doing in this game.
Social moves on the top right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so if you click up on the inventory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
We,
we've got the familiar paper doll there in the middle, and then we've got our stats on the left. But maybe talk a little bit about the social moves there on the top right.
Yeah, you might have been at the electrician when we did the one invite for drink and fish for compliment, but these are where those are stored. The orange things we saw during the conversation, the sort of consumable social moves. This is all of the ones we've collected so far. We've got one use of defy, two uses of insult. We must have had a really bad conversation when I wasn't watching, and one for fish compliment. These are all signs that I've had some really treacherous conversations.
At what point are you giving a fish a compliment? This makes absolutely no sense.
You're thinking about it wrong. So
I actually didn't even know until now, even though I'm working on this game, that you can these social moves you learn in game or in the conversation are brought out to you as inventory items that you can expend on other people. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And in fact, pledges were for a while that way too. And I think we just hide them on the screen.
Like if we get in a hairy situation later, we can use one of these as if it's an item to like outside of even the social screen on somebody. Is that right?
I think it would have to be. I mean, technically you could. There's nothing in the game mechanics that says you couldn't use a social move, except for the fact that I can't pick them up right now. But we could switch that so you could pick them up and deploy them on an appropriate target. Right now, the only way the game will let you use them is in conversation. So I guess we'd have to see if like a situation came up where it made sense. Oh. So we have a proximity alarm. And this is actually maybe a good time to show a few of the PDA things, because you'll notice all of the objectives, when they pop up, they now go over here. And that's because the objectives now live in the PDA. And the proximity alarm is a new objective that was added to alert you to what that beeping noise means. So if you roll over it, it'll highlight the object in the scene. If you click it, it'll focus the camera on that object. So we are getting a proximity alarm, and I bet it's the police spawning because we've been playing the game for X number of minutes. So I am going to close this down again, and let's take a look at the nav station. See what's going on here. Yeah, so the police...
We hire perfect, and then the cops start coming after us immediately.
That's not ominous. That's not an omen at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit suspicious because Perfect didn't really sound like a proper name, so maybe she's like witness protection.
There's something about her that's just a little too perfect.
And also, she had that crazy argument on the way out, and everybody saw that too. So if she gets hurt out here, they're gonna remember us.
And I swear she was doing something to one of the security cameras right before we left, but...
I think you're still connected, aren't you?
I am docked, but I am... turn off the warning.
Did you run into the... Oh, no. It's just using your RCS.
Yeah, my RCS is probably too quiet to hear because I turned the volume down.
So this is the more core loop of the game. Usually you hire somebody after you get a derelict. We've hired someone first, which I might start doing more often. It's kind of cool. But the core loop of the game is what people mentioned earlier, which is outside of OKLG here, there's just like a ring of... It's basically a junkyard, right? This big ring of pieces that they kind of... Or ships, holes that they don't end up using for salvage. They'll just toss out into this junkyard, and then... sorry, I just thought you were going to run into something. And then...
Am I making you nervous? Is this making you nervous?
It is. And then you can ferry to a derelict and dock to it and then try to restore it from our pod. Wow, you really are good at this.
Dan, you fly so fast.
I hit fast forward there, so that's why it...
Yeah, but it's also like... Because you play this more than anyone, so like... It's so weird watching you do things so quickly.
You can't see it, but my eyes are closed right now, too.
Oh my god.
I'm joking. I have to see. Hey, it's a halberd. I think that's one of my favorite layouts.
The relativistic kiss vehicle. There's a theme emerging tonight, folks, and it's romance.
This is a high romance drama arc we're following today.
It's a pleasure craft. You bet it is.
You could cut the tension with a halberd.
I actually don't know this this model offhand.
This is the one that looks like the head of a halberd.
Oh, I do know. I was going to say I don't know what that means, but I do know what that means, and I do know what ship you're referring to now. I always thought about that as like the Millennium Falcon one.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of like that too.
Wait,
cool
did
ship.
Perfect just quit?
She did. And now she's on the superstition thing. She's like, you docked and you didn't wave your hand 3 times before docking. This operation is clown shoes. I'm out. So.
She lives here now, I guess. She just wanted to ride. She just wanted to ride out to the derelict.
She's like, I have other plans for you now that we are out here alone.
You were just a taxi this whole time.
So I'm going to let her get her superstition out of her system. And then I don't know yet. We'll have to decide. So my character actually just auto talks because I'm not in conversation mode right now. This is just like chit chat happening in real time. It doesn't have to be that way. And I'm still undecided as to like when Perfect does that, should it open the conversation UI and give you control? I kind of think we should try that a bit and see if it works. But right now it's just the AIs deciding what they're going to say based on what they want most.
Probably we should like ping a bunch of like events that would pull you into conversation, kind of like what you're talking about in fast forward events that stop fast forward. Like quitting seems like something that you would want the attention of, but if it's just like chit chat like this, the superstition stuff, etc.
Yeah,
I don't see why that would necessarily pull you out of whatever you're doing.
Yeah, quitting for sure. Like that's a game changing conversation, and that should at least give you an opportunity to make your case before they quit. And in fact, it used to, but I forget why it went out.
It would probably be pinged to the pledge system, but like, yeah, some maybe high profile set of social circumstances that pull you back in.
Oh, that's an interesting bug. We focused on the nav station while we had the conversation for some reason. It's funny, she's still in a good mood, but she quit. So
she's trying to get a raise.
Maybe she realized her feelings for you and realized if you were going to have an actual relationship, you couldn't have a working one, you know? Like, that's just not.
It's a
Yeah,
positive.
conflict of interest. So, what's that called? There's a word for that, and I can't think of it because I'm online. There's a professional term for that, and I don't know what it is.
Getting
Sexual
fired.
harassment.
It's not nepotism. There's another word for it. But so, well, favoritism,
Inappropriate conduct.
inappropriate conduct. Yeah.
Maybe we should get off this topic.
Yeah. We're drifting towards some very, very dangerous terrain. What do you think, folks?
NSFW.
I wonder if you just like go onto the ship. I mean, I'm just curious if she's not working for you.
What's she
like,
gonna do?
What's she gonna do? Because anything she does out here is gonna be sort of to your benefit in a way, right? I mean, I don't mean to exploit perfect, but
Maybe we should just like put
just
on our
like-
pressure suit and then depressurize our ship.
kill her.
Well, she won't put hers on because we don't have a pledge to put your helmet on when they're suffocating yet. The best she can do is seek out an oxygen sensor that isn't alarming, and there won't be one, so she'll just die.
Oh, are you worried that if you just leave her here on the ship, she's not going to be the AI is not going to be smart enough to put on her own pressure suit and all that?
Right.
And then we'll see if she wants to join our crew.
Yes. Now, in real life, I think that would be very effective, but it's not going to have the effect you want.
Well, maybe just try to hire her back real quick, put on the pressure suit, and then let her quit again if she wants at that point.
I think the key bug we're discovering in today's playthrough is we need to work out this hire quit loop so it's a little bit less yo-yo like. All right. She
Someone
agrees.
asked if you're going to leave the pod behind.
I think it'll depend on what we find. I like the ship layout, but I don't know what it's looking like in there yet. We're going to have to walk on there and see.
Usually you have to go through 2, 3, 4 derelicts before you find one that's like not so banged up that it, is worth salvaging.
But you
usually-
can just go onto the other ship and then that becomes your new ship. And then you can fly that one around, right? Yeah. It's just the stations you can't take over a station, right?
Yeah.
Not yet.
All right. I'm going to hit pause before she quits again. And then I'm going to put her helmet on. I think she's
Okay,
got...
now we'll just leave. Maybe she'll come with us.
She loves Breakout, but I have no interest in it, so we can never chit-chat about it.
Give her some food.
Let that girl eat. Where is the food? I thought I gave her some.
She's hangry. No wonder she's quitting so much.
All right, that's on the ground. I am... Well, I don't want to open the airlock while she's standing there eating. So I'm just going to get out of the way. Get hurt.
Do you have to feed your employees? Or
She will... So she will do like basic bodily needs like toilet, food, water, if there is food readily available. I just told her to do it because it's faster for me to tell her to do it. But yeah, she'll satisfy like basic living needs, but things like the pressure suit are a little more complicated. Like, there are different ways to solve the problem of I don't have air to breathe right now, and I think we need to build kind of some tools at their disposal to solve that. Oh, and we will also need...
British. It's a very British question, isn't it? Do we have to feed the employees? Like here in New Zealand, we just pay them and then they get their own food. But I mean, maybe in Britain it's a bit different.
What do you think this is? Socialism?
hey,
Yeah, we
look.
don't even pay people in America. It's just a system of... Actually, you know what? You get paid only food, like a lunch.
You only get food, no dollars?
Yeah, it gets pulled out of your
Someone
pay.
said, this is very American. Hire and fire. Every second.
As needed. Yes. I don't want you to have benefits, so I'm firing you again.
Oh, do you need to be rehired now that you're past the past the period where I don't need to pay you benefits?
You're too close to dying, you're fired. So, I popped this UI open just because she's a new hire. By default, she's not going to have permission to leave the ship unless I turn this on. So I'm going to do that. She's got a work schedule about the same as mine. I hired her an hour later than when I started the game, so that's why they're staggered by an hour. But we could change this to whatever work schedule we want. This is fine for now, though. And airlocks are turned off right now. We don't want people opening airlocks without us manually doing it because, again, they're not smart enough to navigate that yet. So I am Kyle. I'm going to open the airlock and let's see what we've got. Perfect is cocooning. I think she just wants to be left alone for a bit. All right, Kyle, you go there. And Perfect, you go there. Let's see what we get. We got some crates. We get. What's that?
It's looking good so far. The
Not
ship.
bad. Yeah, there's something over here that I'm worried about, but
I know where the reactor is, though. I think it's south of that. Sorry to ruin the surprise. But so I think this is promising.
okay, we got a crate with a crate in it, which is a bug. We'll solve that eventually.
Or
What if I pry that crate open? Okay, so now what's in there? Nothing. All right. Well, that's not very useful. Let's check out this other crate. Perfect's just waiting for me to give her an order, so she's browsing Facebook. Grab. Let me pull this guy out and just double check what's in there. I don't have a lot of hope, but we'll take a look anyway. Oh, I'm winded. I guess I must not be very healthy. Okay, I don't think we have much to play with in these crates. So, that door's open. Let's send Kyle.
looking a little rougher.
So for people that haven't played before, haven't played much, from your expert experience of being the creator of this game, what exactly should people be looking for when they first kind of like enter these ships?
Well, you have to kind of decide how much work you're willing to put into a ship. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of damage in this area, which is going to mean a lot of patching up or replacing of floors and walls. We have a missing reactor right here. This is a reactor room is typically like a bunch of batteries, some like power routing, and then there would be a reactor right there. So already this is kind of a non-starter unless we find a reactor elsewhere and bring it over here. But you're basically looking at how many things do I have to fix or replace on this ship? And usually one or two, it's like not a big deal. But if it's like 3 or 4 or more major pieces like reactors and fuel tanks and stuff like that, I might just move on. I might take something out of this that seems worth keeping in case the next ship needs it. But
Yeah, like the hull needs to be pretty solid. Like you don't want to see a bunch of cracked hull or missing hull on the floor or the walls. Then there's conduits all along the ship. Usually, those are those like power pipe looking things that route power throughout the ship. Those you want to have be pretty intact. Although all this stuff can be replaced. And then like the major parts are the reactor is probably the rarest, I would guess.
yeah.
And then so that
So
they're dripped out often.
So if I could maybe have a swing at the question too. So at least as I understand it, we're in early access, and so for this part of the game, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build up a ship which is capable of moving through the solar system. So we've just got our little escape pod, and that's not very good. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to take one of these derelicts and repair it to a state where we can move around the solar system. And so either we're trying to find one that's nearly usable that we fix up the last little pieces, or we're trying to salvage it for parts to fix up, or we're salvaging for high value things which we can then sell for money and then buy the parts. So is that kind of where we're at, Dan, in this part of the game?
Yeah. What I picture is like when the game is more complete, this is kind of just the first step, like your first ship. And then once we do the things you just described, it's kind of like your rickety old held together by duct tape ship, and you're starting to have your adventures then. But so far, you can't leave the area around K-Leg and get very far because the fastest you can fast forward is only 16 times, and even at maximum speed with any ship you could build here, that would take days to get to the nearest planet. So yeah, this is kind of the prelude, or the way I always sort of describe it is in Firefly there was an episode called Out of Gas, and they kind of go back to see the origin story of how you met your crew members and the junkyard where they found Serenity, and walking through the halls, there's holes in the floor and they're fixing it up. This is kind of that episode, that backstory of how you got your first ship, and your crew, and the prelude to everything that will happen in the game. A lot of the plot stuff we talked about earlier, where it's like, an enemy you made during character creation starts giving you trouble, or like you heard about a new technology that's only available in this port, and maybe you can go there and talk to a black market person to buy it, or that kind of stuff. This is looking rough. This whole ship is looking like a mess.
Looks pretty bad. I guess it's worth saying that with enough time, you can time and energy, you can technically fix any ship. It just is going to take some resourcefulness and stuff. So another way to think about it is like, what do you want to do as a player? Like, would you feel sort of like joy out of like bringing something that was like really rough into like good shape? I feel good when I do that sometimes. Or are you trying to look for something that's more ready to go?
Yeah,
because all that stuff's fully customizable as well. So. Sorry, I interrupted Kara. She had something funny to say. I apologize.
It was just in reference to the Firefly Out of Gas episode. Somebody, actually, wait, is this spoilers? It's been out for a while, right? It'll be fine.
It's fine, yeah.
Somebody said, can we skip the getting shot part of the episode? Yikes.
Yeah, we haven't got combat in the game yet, if that makes you feel any safer. So
Are we gonna have space guns? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, people probably have guns.
I expect there's going to be some guns in the game. I don't know how common they should be yet, just given the amount of danger in a pressurized environment with high velocity projectiles. Not to mention, explosive gases or any other things on the ship. If you talk to me about superstition again, okay. So Perfect was approaching me.
I think with guns in space as well, I mean, I think that genre has been done a lot. Like, you can just jump on Steam or any other game platform and find guns in space, and that exists, right? So I think when we get around to introducing guns into this game, they're going to be like a lot of these kind of things that you've seen. They're going to be like super powerful, but rare and tradable, and they're going to be much more narrative driven rather than, pew pew kind of gameplay style.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a commitment. If you're in a gunfight, it's a commitment you've just gotten into, and there's some very high costs to doing that.
I was actually thinking more about the security in various places. Like, they would probably have guns, I would guess, in certain areas.
Well, even in Neo Scavenger, there was a fair amount. I'm leaving this ship if that isn't clear. So non-lethal stuff in Neo Scavenger was touched upon. Things like taser rounds or pellet, like a buckshot almost from a shotgun. There are some things you can do to mimic the effectiveness of a gun without making it quite as damaging to the ship or even people. But fist fights, I totally see being a thing. Getting into a firefight in limited situations, sure. And the ships themselves, there might be some combat on the ship to ship scale. But I picture that being a lot more, again, tense and posturing, and a lot of it is just setting it up and then it's over in a flash. But ultimately, I think what we're going to have to do is just incrementally add things, and then tweak it as we go, because fun is king here. We want to have fun playing this game.
Well, mostly people in this universe, they just want to survive, right? I mean, it's a hostile place. You're trying to make money. There's really no social system out there to kind of catch you if you are in trouble. So, I mean, getting involved in dangerous situations is not really something anybody necessarily wants to be doing. Is how I think about it from a lore perspective, right?
Yeah. And
so it's probably rare you're going to go up to somebody and they're going to be like slinging a gun around or whatever.
yeah, and I think the other thing is, like, for this particular starting point, you're like a day laborer, right? You have no rights. You're not a citizen. You're basically just being paid the minimum amount of money possible to do a highly dangerous job in zero gravity and no atmosphere, with big moving parts and equipment. You know, you're the coal miner of space. So there's a level of danger in your life already that you're just looking to. If I'm going to be risking my ass doing this, then I better be doing it for myself instead of some foreman, you know, on the slave barge. Well, slave barge is a bit much, but the labor barge. So I'm going to undock this. This pleasure craft is not all the pleasure it advertised.
We have a question saying, will there be contracts for smuggling illegal goods and boarding by police, etc.?
Oh, hell yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Of course.
I mean, the black market is going to be thriving in an environment like this where there's not a ton of
Swiss cheese regulation.
I mean, even these police are like quote unquote police, right? There's not like they are the security of this particular jurisdiction. I imagine they probably work for Amo Tamiwa. I always pronounce it wrong.
Ayotimowa.
Ayotimowa, the people who run OKLG. So yeah, black market smuggling is a big deal, and probably how a lot of people make money in the system here.
I think at one point too, we were talking that even the player could set up a contract. So like you could go to K-Leg Bar or something like that and say, you know, I want to buy this illegal thing for this much money, and then you could hire someone to go do that contract for you, and then they'd go off, steal the thing or whatever, you don't care. And then, you know, 30 minutes in gameplay, they'd come back and have that thing for you for the contract that you set up. So not just you taking contracts, but you could even create them yourself.
Yeah, and I've been out of the loop for tabletop role playing for such a long time, that I recently learned that downtime mechanics are a popular thing in RPGs, and in many ways, I feel like Ostranauts is basically a downtime simulator. It's a lot of the stuff you're not doing, going room to room, looting and fighting. It's like, you know, like you said, you have this uh, hot treasure, like, you know, some equipment that's really hard to offload and nobody will buy it legally, and maybe, you know, there's a black market guy on Tharsis Landing. You've heard about him, and your first job is to find him. Your second job is to convince this guy to meet with you and actually conduct business with you. Like, it's not like you just walk up to a kiosk. I'd like that to be, you know, a conversation with stakes and negotiation, and then you can start selling stuff to him. You know, like, it may not be as straightforward as the stuff we've modeled right now.
Then all the bribes and all the other stuff to actually get the merchandise there and get the introductions all on the way as well.
Yeah.
So
Convince that guard to look the other way as you sneak into a room, or convince some dock workers to offload some stuff without paying the fees at the port.
Chat is currently talking still about how guns could be possible, but also have raised like cyber warfare. So I guess, like, instead of doing things that like hands-on kind of combat, you'd do kind of hacking stuff instead, maybe.
Yeah.
That's come up a few times. We're talking a little bit about the systems that govern a ship. You know, the electrical systems, the data systems, things like that, and wondering if it's possible to hack other ships and things. we'll say genre-wise, this is not. I don't know how to explain it, but there's not as much net space, I guess, in a game like this as there would be in some cyberpunk. You know.
I think there's
Uh,
like islands. You wouldn't have a global internet the way we have it on Earth, but a ship is an internet, and like a city is going to have one or more internets. We have a WISP technology, which is Ubic, is one of the corporations in the game, and they're kind of doing what Starlink does, where they just throw a whole bunch of nodes in a mesh network around a spot where you don't have the time or the money to set up like physical infrastructure, and you just want a bunch of drones or satellites to act as your mesh network. So all of those things exist, and I was showing the door UI as a potential example for like you may need hacking skills or tools to get through security systems on a door like that, or I forget if I even have like if I go on to my PDA. The right click isn't working there, but if I do it, maybe nav station. Was I stuck?
this ship looks great, by the way, doesn't it?
It's looking really good, but I'm a little worried that I might have bugged something out because I can't seem to click on anything.
No, right when we get a perfect ship.
Hold on, let me try this. I'm going to save and exit and come back.
What I doubt this game will end up having is like cyberpunk on the level of like striding the net space, you know, with like visual representations of like
You're a chrome
programming.
humanoid, and
Yeah, like in Gibson or whatever. But low level hacking of like hard systems. Yeah.
Oops, that's right. The door is. Oh, if I open that door, I'm going to vacate the.
Someone's mentioning ramming there in the chat. I just noticed, and yeah, that's definitely a thing. If you mess up, the police will might accidentally ram your ship, and it will definitely cause damage that you'll have to go repair. So yeah,
I think
that's in at the moment.
Some people would say it's not them messing up. Technically.
And I think you can ram the station too, can't you? And then
oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, I did that on accident a few days ago. It just like completely wrecked my pod. Like, yeah, I had to run into OKLG before all the air got vacated.
There's some nice stuff here. Somebody left this ship in a hurry.
You just opened the door to a perfect ship with a EVA suit sitting right in the front door. This is wild.
There's no, unfortunately, no helmet to go with. Actually, I think the helmet is irrelevant for air filtration. I just won't get the HUD readout. No, when it comes down to it, maybe I'll swap the suits just to see.
Wait, it's like on and powered, isn't it? The ship, I mean?
Yeah, the ship appears to be turned on for some reason.
Was that the bug? It didn't get destroyed?
No, it's got some damage down here. It's like...
Is it supposed to... Is this allowed?
I've never seen a ship turned on when I board it, but this one appears to be on. I mean, the lights are all on, etc.
Are these dev cheats? Are you tricking us?
I'm not hacking the I'm not hacking the game. You know what I think?
The ship is haunted.
Corey, did you put a space ghost in this?
Not yet, but you know I want to.
I know you do.
Yes.
Oh, there's a bottle of vodka. That's a good sign. So
this is the kind of situation where I would love to have other people just like on the ship, you know, like you board it, you think it's derelict, and then there's other salvagers, and then you have a conversation, right? Like
the day that happens is going to be so exciting. I can't wait.
Cool.
I don't know who's on the other side of this door, and I better be ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so awesome to me. Like, okay, are we going to be on a team now? Or
Fernando's like, I'm so sorry. I should have taken your job.
When the eventual plot system is in, this is right around the time Fernando should chirp on your comms and be like, I may have tipped off some of the local authorities that there was an illegal salvage going on in your area, and then XOXO.
Classic Fernando.
What a jerk.
Perfect.
I think there's a missing reactor here, but for some reason, it's like the reactor bypass switch is on. So like the ship is being powered off of batteries. If I had to, oops.
Well, you can power the ship out of through batteries even without the reactor, can't you?
Wait a minute, this you can, yeah. The switch right here, which you can barely see, is kind of like bypass the reactor and go straight into powering the ship with just the battery bank.
Okay, yeah.
However, the thing that I was just about to exclaim is that all of these rooms have been mostly pressurized so far.
Yeah, it's like the ship is recently occupied.
This is suspicious. I'm suspicious.
The pumps just Oh, I guess that makes sense. If the ship was powered, all of the sensors were online, and the pumping system restored the pressure.
Yeah. That
Okay.
means there's not a ton of that means they're pretty sound, the rooms, right? I mean, there's not a ton of I see gas escaping actually up to the north there, but it means
In this
they're
direction?
relatively stable. Yeah, isn't that gas escaping?
Yeah, I think it's settling out of this main corridor where the pumps dump the gas. Actually, I'm just noticing now it's 27 after 5, so I probably have a couple more minutes. I think. How are you guys doing for time? Should we think about wrapping it up soon?
I'm happy to wrap. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, I'm all good.
if you have to go, I mean, that's
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I could stretch it a bit, but I mean, I hear clanking around upstairs, so.
oh,
Does
no, it's fine.
anyone have any questions in the chat? Any last minute questions?
There's a mention there about solar panels, and I think where we are in the solar system, the solar panels aren't very effective at that distance. So you'd need either like really large panels or like super high
Yeah.
efficiency ones or something.
I think, yeah, it would depend on like, and that's actually touching on a broader question of like ship specialization. If you were primarily an inner system hauler or something like that, solar panels all the way, yeah, that makes sense. You're going to be close to the sun. If you were a Jovian mining ship or someone that operated around Jupiter frequently, you might want extra radiation shielding just for being in Jupiter's radiation envelope. If you're constantly hanging out in the asteroid belt, I don't know, say you're a prospector or something like that, it might make sense to do like ballistic protection on your ship, whether that's like point defense cannons or ablative armor or that kind of stuff. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff we can do with like, if you're going to operate in this theater, you're probably going to have a very different ship than somebody like if somebody wants to dock at the aerostats on Venus, they have to be able to get into that atmosphere without burning up. So, does your ship have atmospheric protection? Maybe it won't. Maybe it's never meant to go into an atmosphere and you have a little skiff to get you down to the surface. I think there's a lot of cool stuff we can do there for sure.
And again, like we're in early access at the moment, so as we get deeper into the game, add more places you can go in the solar system, we're going to add more origin stories as well. So like one of the origin stories could be you actually start off on Venus, for example, and then you have a very different set of character stats
I am
because of your
psyched.
origin
Psyched to do
of being.
Venus.
Oh yeah. So an aerostat floating in the atmosphere in Venus, and
Yeah.
if that's where you were born as your character, then you're going to have a different set of stats from these spaces up here who are born in 0G and raised in 0G.
There
So
are,
as we add more content, there's going to be lots more going on in the game.
I was going to say there are canonically air pirates operating in Venus, and there is a Grand Prix which somewhat accidentally came out of a talk about supernatural things that happened in the world. But I think there's going to be basically a Brazilian Grand Prix with air vehicles in the atmosphere of Venus. And Cyrus, one of the folks who's helped with a bunch of the logos, did this really cool kind of like Grand Prix advertisement / poster. So there's so much stuff I want to get to, but like we're building a lot of the foundational stuff that all of these systems are going to hook into first before we start laying on the content and the fun stuff. So bear with us as we build from the ground up.
So a quick one, which I think is from someone that wasn't here at the start, asked how big is the dev team? So I don't quite know how to answer that, so I think that's down to you.
I don't know how to answer that either. I'm
They want that in kilograms or pounds?
Which units?
Please,
Imperial units? I am going to save out to the main menu just because we're wrapping up anyway. But there's a credit screen which makes it a little bit easier to illustrate.
We should probably add that we're hiring as well. Like that's kind of important.
Yeah, there's actually a programmer job open right now. If you go to any of our social channels, you'll see a link for it. But we need somebody who's going to help make a lot of what we're talking about real and make the quality of life for players better, the user experience better. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, the left-hand column here you see is everybody who's ever worked on the game since 5 years ago when the initial code was being written. And on this call, there are, is it 4 people?
Four of us.
Four of us.
Naiba's lurking around here somewhere. Chico.
And the
Chico,
the Murga Wraith. But yeah, like people kind of come on and off the project multiple times over the course of the project. Like Josh Culler, the composer, was on for a really long time, just kind of doing the awesome soundtrack. Some of the artists will like come do a couple drawings and then they're done. Other people kind of come back later on. So yeah, there's a lot of people helping on this project. But the 4 people you are hearing right now are some of the most long-term help. And Michael, who isn't here, did a lot of the writing that people have been calling out in the game too. So if you like the writing, thanks to Michael for that. Because he's definitely breathed some life into the lore and the branding and setting stuff.
Yeah, great.
And we're always after passionate people. Like if you're really excited about the game and you want to get involved, like on the coding or the art or the lore stuff, like reach out and get in touch and tell us what you got.
It's both a blessing and a curse that I frequently end up just hiring a lot of the people who just do really cool stuff in the community. So I don't want to promise you'll have a job, but there's at least a handful of just fans who quickly transitioned into actual paid work. So
like Corey.
like Corey, for example. So
that's right, baby.
Okay, so I have so whilst we're on dev stuff, I'll ask this question, but then I have another one that's more about
why don't we cap it at 2 more questions and then we'll probably wrap it up.
Fortunately, there is only 2 more, so I'm with you.
There we go.
Someone said, this is from Twitch, is there a basic plan for what updates are coming out when? Or are you still in the early stages of the creative process? So I guess that's one to kind of explain the roadmap we've got going on at the moment. Yeah,
we do have a roadmap of sorts. It's less sequential and more like how likely is this thing to happen or not. So if you go to the Steam page in the game description, I think the roadmap is listed there. And then there's also like a post in the list of Steam news where we actually do a video and we talk about all the plans. But broadly speaking, there is kind of like a collection of things we want to do. And periodically we will open up a feature vote for players to basically register their interest in what comes next. And the current priority is more useful crew so that, like what we were doing today in the stream, you can actually have your crew participate in what you're doing instead of just be baggage.
And the last one, can we expect components more heavily integrated with the ship? Stuff that you wouldn't be expected to add or remove by hand, such as massive mining equipment.
Yeah, so
it kind of switches a bit.
I think the deuterium and helium-3 canisters on the ship might be an interesting case of that. Right now they look like 3x3 objects. They occupy like, I don't know, 7x7 or something. Below decks, they have a much larger footprint. And technically you can put them in your pocket right now, which is not correct. But until there's a better way to deal with that, that's just the way it works. And the way I picture that working in the future is something like that. Either you'll cut it into smaller pieces or disassemble it into smaller pieces, and then reassemble it at your destination. Or if that's not possible, like I think extra vehicular activity is probably going to have to be a thing, or maybe some kind of manipulator outside the ship to get thing from one ship to another that won't fit through a bulkhead. So I think that's coming down the road, but right now you can put almost anything in your pocket until we get a better solution. And the reactor is maybe another example of like, right now it does everything from like generating the power and the lasers to compress the pellet and the cooling system and the field coils to contain the reaction. But I think what would be cooler is if the reactor that you interact with is just the chamber and just like the control head for it. And then the cryo cooling system is actually a separate component that you have to install next to the reactor. And the field coils are another component. And like, having better or worse components could be its own like hot rodding your ship customization thing. So I think the game is set up to allow stuff like that. But again, we have to kind of incrementally build out the content to support those things after the systems to use them are in place.
I think we kind of have something like that on the stations already, so there's nothing really preventing us from having it on the ships. It's just we haven't got around to it yet, I guess.
Like stuff that can't be moved on the stations, you mean? Or
yeah, I'm thinking like the bar and other kind of set pieces like that.
People are going to want to take that bar apart and put it on their ship. I mean, Corey's already tried it twice, so.
Oh, really?
The first thing
Oh,
I
wow.
did in the ship editor is like, I'm making a flying
I need
bar.
a ship that has an excuse for a bar on it. So.
I want to make like a roadhouse, like well, anyway, we'll talk about this later.
I think it's worth pointing out, like the ship editor there, like you can actually just jump in and mess with anything in the ships. as
It's
well.
not a bad way
That's
to
not
just
part
kind
of
of
it.
familiarize yourself with systems too, right?
Oh yeah, and it's not part of the main player path, but it's certainly available there if you want to have a mess around in the back end and see how things are put together. And I think we're probably going to ship with that in the full version of the game, right? Like that's
Yeah.
not just an early access feature.
Yeah, that's something I
So,
want players to have access to, both as like an external tool for making mod stuff, but also like maybe in the game you commission a ship and you need a way to define what that ship looks like. So I think there are some ways that people are going to experience that in the final game.
Okay, well, I think that's everything from us this time. We'll be doing another stream in 3 weeks, so... Oh, when is that? Let me just double check. It'll be up on our Twitch during the schedule kind of thing, so I think that's the 7th? I believe?
Sixth or seventh.
Oh yeah, it'll be the 6th, won't it? Because it's Thursday. Sorry, it's now Friday for me. During the length of the stream, in my time zone, it went across to Friday. Okay, so I'm going to, in the Twitch chat, put a link to our Discord. So if you want to come chat about the game, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you next time. I think,
Yeah.
Chris, you're going to be maybe playing the game. Or maybe it'll be me. I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll firm that up when we get closer to the date and we know what people's availability is like. But yeah, I think Chris hasn't had a chance yet, and if he wants one, he's welcome to it. And
We'll draw draw straws or something. somehow.
one of these space helmets has no oxygen, and that's the person who drives. So.
I'm not sure I can play very well without all the cheat keys, so it might be a bit of a strange experience. So yeah, we'll see how we go. That could be fun. It's been fun today too. So
Yeah, I enjoy these a lot, so I'm looking forward to doing another one.
Me too. That was fun.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for joining
Awesome.
us.
Yeah, thanks for coming along, everyone, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye, everybody.
very cool.
See you
Bye.
on Discord.
Ciao.